Shout out to USARK and all USARK members. If you don't know what USARK is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what USARK is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a USARK member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with USARK organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a USARK member. And if you can't become a USARK member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what USARK is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every USARK member and USARK supporter out there.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world, episode 606. Thursday nights, Elite Chondro Talk. Steven Saltzman, Cosmic Chondros in the building. Tonight's going to be one for the books. You guys are in for a treat. What is good? I'm your boy MJ. It's your first time tapping in. If you're into the reptile hobby, okay, if you want to learn about some of the coolest reptiles that you could work with and meet some of the best people doing that, then this is the right place to be. So let's hit the like button. Hit the likes up right now. Let's get that over with. Free feature. Hit the like button, and of course, smash that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Select all. By doing that, you get reminded of every single podcast release out of the network 7 days a week. You know the deal. You guys know the deal. Trap Talk Reptile Network, the only reptile network that is giving you a new episode every day of the week, Monday through Sunday. Been doing it. It's going great, and we're going strong, man. And again, thank you to all the other hosts of the other segments throughout the week. Don't forget, you can listen to all these episodes on all the major audio platforms, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the major ones. So wherever you listen to any of these episodes, thank you so much. Appreciate all the love and support. If you're looking to support this further than just watching, then come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. Please consider joining the Patreon family today, okay? Click the very first link in the description below. You get connected to a Discord, all right, where you get early exclusive releases to all my other vlogs that I do on different channels. Okay, there's also cool exclusive content that you get your hands on. Anytime I do a live and take it down and edit it, all the lives are available for all Patreon members. And of course, there's an awesome Instagram group chat that is popping 24/7. We have global trappers all over the world. Thank you to all my Patreon members. You guys are my heart. Cool giveaways coming here very shortly. So tap in with us, man. Come join us. Come grow with the best. Nothing but some amazing longevity reptile keepers, which that's my cup of tea, man. Right up my alley. So thank you again, all my Patreon members. You're my heart. Shout out to everyone in the chats. Also, too, if you think tonight's chat is worth any super chat, you have a question for either myself or Steven, or a topic that you think we should cover and you don't want to make sure I cover it, then drop that super chat, okay? Don't be shy. I want to say, first and foremost, thank you to tonight's sponsor, one of them being Focus Cube Habitats, #1 PVC enclosures in the game. Go to focuscubehabitats.com. You have 30+ different designs that you could choose from. Everything you see behind me, all 3x2x2, Focus Cube Habitats. Very uniformed in my reptile room, and so is Steven, actually. So, and he rocks Focus Cube as well. So thank you again, Steven and Ashley. Again, check them out on YouTube, check them out on Instagram, and just go to their website, see what they have available that will best fit your reptile needs. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Brian Susan over at Sundown Reptiles, true captive bred Abronia, tree monitors, kahua, gargoyle geckos, all right? Top-notch stuff coming from Brian Susan, veteran in the game, definitely one of the best. I look up to this guy a lot. So thank you so much, Brian Susan. Go to sundownreptiles.com. Check out all the projects he has flourishing right now in his collection. And also go to his Instagram account. Give him a follow. Thank you again, Brian Susan from Sundown Reptiles. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Blake Exotic Feeders, #1 produced quail in the United States, sent to your doorstep, anywhere from button quail to all the way to extra large quail. My freezer stays correct because of Blake. Thank you so much, Blake, for providing my animals with some of the top quality quail that you can possibly get your hands on. So, and also remind you that he produces all his quail on property, no third party, none of that. This is the source where you get your rodents from. So thank you again, Blake from Blake Exotic Feeders. Head over to his IG, make sure you give him a follow, and let him know that the trap sent you. We'll take extra good care of you. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by GS Reptiles. Gary Scavino, #1 in the arboreal game when it comes to learning about cool stuff. This is your guy. Go to his YouTube channel, type in GS Reptiles on YouTube, subscribe, head over to his IG as well. Make sure you give him a follow. And again, this guy displays some of the coolest, rare stuff that you get your hands on in the hobby today. Thank you so much, Gary Scavino. Last but not least, shout out to the Reptile Breeder Show happening this Saturday, March 1st, downtown Los Angeles. I will be there. Many other really cool, respectable breeders will be vending there, and I cannot wait to pull up. It's going to be quite the time. Are you going to the Reptile Breeder Show this Saturday? Please drop a comment if you are. I would love to link up and meet whoever I haven't met or whoever I have met. Let's pull up. It's going to be fun. KG&D are throwing this. This is the second annual show, and they do a good job doing it. So cannot wait to pull up and hang out with the Bomb Project fam and many other cool people. And thank you so much for your support. KG&D, the Reptile Breeder Show happening this Saturday. And listen, I get really excited about these Thursday nights where it's Chondro Elite Talk. That's right. I'm looking to become an elite in the Chondro game someday. But guess what? I got friends that are. And we're going to cover a lot of cool things and obviously things that you might run into. I mean, listen, there's good and bad experiences with anything you do in life. But man, the Chondros, whoo, you get a lot of it. So good and bad. All right. Steven's been there. So anyways, you guys are in for a treat. You guys are literally going to be hearing some really top-notch Chondro content. So make sure you guys do what you got to do to get your mind right and do what you got to do. Stay hydrated for episode 606. Elite Chondro Talk with Cosmic Chondros coming at you right now. Let's go.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, God love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it.
And we're live, episode 606. I'm with my buddy, Steven Saltzman. Steven, do you think I would ever be bringing you on the show about 4 years ago, calling you my buddy, and look, here you are, just me and you. Like, there's no Bill. There's like it's just me and you tonight, buddy.
Yeah, I honestly would not have thought that was going to happen, but here we are.
Oh, listen, I'm going to make this real short and sweet. Me and this guy used to hate each other at one point. Like, literally hated each other, blocked each other, all the above. I was extra. We all know that. But listen, I'm so glad. It's crazy how things could turn to, something you don't expect. And obviously I've grown up a lot, and you've grown so much in the Chondro game, which I'm so proud of you. You know what I mean? It's one thing, because I do want to talk about the unique position you were in with Green Tree Pythons as far as making a name before your very first clutch, all sorts of stuff, but definitely you've been down for this for a while, Steven. So I got to say, definitely got to give you props right off the bat for sticking it out. And now here you are here on a Thursday night, going to tell us what's been working for you. I don't know. How does that feel?
Good. Well, welcome to my office. Yeah. I'm in here a lot these days, probably 2 to 5 hours a day at the moment.
Yeah. I love the cages. I mean, shout out to Focus.
Yeah, Focus Cube is legit, man. They did these custom things for me. I'm not sure which ones you can see, but it's
You can
got
see
my laser etched cosmic chondros on there. That Kino coin from Indonesia.
Yep.
Really hot stuff. I love the Ferrari red. These things are smoking.
Yep.
Yep. You got the Kino coin right there.
Yep. David
Nice.
Brown. Shout out to the Reptile Perch, who that's where you got the actual outline for that, right? Or something like that. Like
yeah, he sent the file over to Steven and Ashley for
cool.
them to etch this on for me.
Yeah, man. Hey, but it's been a long time coming. I mean, first and foremost, doesn't it feel like ever since you had interest, or how about even when you started that Facebook group page, how quick time flies? First and foremost, can we talk about how long you were just interacting on Facebook and building a community before you even paired your first snakes? Like, was it at least 3 years or 2 years? Correct me if I'm
More
wrong.
than that, because I started looking at green tree pythons in 2017. I think it was right at the beginning of 2018 when I got my first. So I started jumping into the groups right after I read Greg Maxwell's The More Complete Chondro, and he talked about the old MVF forums, and then I looked those up and realized it was kind of dead in there, but someone mentioned the Facebook groups in there, and so I actually created my Facebook page just so that I could join the Green Tree Python groups and get involved with the community. And I've kind of just been hooked ever since reading that book, getting my first chondro. It's just kind of history since then. I mean, I started getting involved right away. As soon as I knew the answer to even the most basic questions, I was on there telling other people those answers to those basic questions. And I think that familiarity over time is what kind of got me the name I have. And I've always taken part in mentoring others and teaching others while I'm also learning. I think people that get the chance to admin groups or do podcasts and whatnot, you learn so much quicker, just because you're involved in so many conversations and posts and comments. It really kicks your learning curve up.
Yeah. You know,
I've been involved with the community now, 7 years, and I didn't get my first clutch until the end of 2023. So what's that? 5-6 years?
And that's all because you bought babies. You didn't buy adults.
Yeah.
You raised up everything, right?
Yeah, my first chondro was the age of some of these animals, and I grew and learned with it. And actually, that first USCB chondro was a Maniquari female from Vitaly Romanov, Viridis Python.
Yep.
And she's the mom of the 21 Maniquari Neos over here.
Wow.
That was her first clutch. So that's kind of, I've been growing and learning with her.
So let me ask you, when you started the page on Facebook, did you even own a chondro yet or no?
I actually did not start that page. It was started by Stephen Brown. It already existed for, I don't know, several years before I came around. But
okay.
Yeah, Stephen Brown saw how much I was involved and how much I was helping others and how gung-ho I was. And he really loved how I interacted with others and taught others and answered those tedious questions every single day, day in and day out, that people get real tired of answering. And he invited me to be an admin with him, and it's been a great journey. I think most people think that I'm the main admin over there because I'm the most active. I'm the one answering all the questions, getting involved the most. But no, he's my brother from another mother, Stephen Brown.
And can you? I've heard his name. I've seen him on Facebook. But what's he currently doing? Does he keep chondros? Is he out of the game? What's he doing?
He has only one green tree python right now, and it's an animal that I sent to him.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah, he got out of it after his wife passed away.
Oh,
he had a really hard time with that. They were married for 30 some odd years.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he made the mistake and got out of it, but he still loves the community and still likes to help other people, so he stays involved with the page.
Yeah,
I actually had a nidopositive animal come into my collection about 2-3 years ago. And as soon as I found out that it was positive, I was looking for where it could go. And I thought maybe he might want to take it just to have, just a little memory, something to hang out with. And he said, yeah, he'd be glad to take it. And he actually just messaged me like a month ago, sent me an updated picture and said it's over there doing fine, living its best life.
And listen, before we continue on, I don't know about you right now. I mean, I don't know, definitely probably where you're at right now, but I don't know what would take me out of this fucking game, bro. I am so obsessed with what we're doing, just keeping, I understand that breeding's really the fucking goddamn like meat and potatoes, but just what we keep is so amazing. And I don't know no other life. I don't want to know no other life.
Right.
But I do feel bad when I hear people in certain, I don't know, losing my wife, that could maybe put me over the board. I could, because I love my wife. So I don't know. I mean, I just know there are some fucked up things that happen to people in this world. And I just, man, I pray, like I literally kiss this, my floor is clean by the way, but every time I walk into this room, I kiss the floor, and I'm just so thankful I have it. Cause we all know shit can happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? And this could all be gone tomorrow. Right. But I don't know about you, man, but I'm in this for life, Steven. I fucking love this shit. I really do.
It's become part of my identity and who I am. It's my passion, my purpose. I think about it when I'm laying in bed at night. It's one of the first things that comes into my head when I wake up in the morning.
Yep.
And it just, you eat, sleep, and breathe this shit. I mean, if there's something wrong with one of your animals or you can't figure out how to get babies to eat, I'm not sleeping. They affect you. It's emotional. It's personal. Now I've got lots of friends too. So it's all of my community of people, my support group. It kind of becomes everything. We go to the shows, we go to dinners, we go on podcasts. This is our life.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know what I would do. I can't imagine anything taking me out of it.
Yeah. I gotta ask you though.
I feel blessed every time I open one of these tubs.
100%, bro. I mean, just the shit you post is this, like, it's inspiring the next up and coming keeper. Somebody that maybe doesn't even own a chondro yet, don't even know they own a chondro yet, follow your work and probably won't even know what position they'll be in someday. So it's very inspiring. But I got to ask you, Steven, like, you being in the position where you're learning as you're going along, like, dude, some of the information we hear is fucking horrendous. Like, it's scary to hear a lot of people's stories. So how did you not let that really affect you going into it, or even wanting to invest? Because you don't have imports. I don't really know what you have as far as like that side of things, but you have investment fucking quality animals, like top tier animals, and that's ballsy to do when you're that close to the community and what happens. So how did you not let that like stop you?
I mean, I was just super careful, and I was adamant that I was going to get what I wanted. I mean, I think we all get into this and we see the animals that just blow our minds and like, oh my God, I've got to have that. I've got to have one of those one day. Even if I have to breed it myself, I've got to have one of those. And that's what it's been for me. And so regardless of the stories and other people's mishaps, I mean, even if I had my own, I would pick up back at the beginning and start again.
Yeah.
I love them too much to walk away from it or let somebody else's bad experience sour mine.
So from what I understand, only because Bill's really transparent on Tuesday night. Shout out to Bill Stiegel, Phoenix Reptiles, our good buddy. But he came to you, man. He definitely came to you for some assistance with his egg boxes.
He did.
I want to know.
I was surprised, like, Bill, what? You've been hatching hundreds of eggs, bro. What are you talking to me for?
Listen, the mayor's always paying attention. He knows who's killing it and who's got, stuff going for him. So, and he's your buddy. Come on, I like you and Bill are strangers.
It's just that I look at him as, I'm here and he's here. And why would you come down here to get some advice about egg boxes is what I was wondering to myself. But I was more than happy to help. And I mean, if you think about it, I have gotten some pretty good hatch rates and whatnot. So it clearly works.
Okay, but here's the thing, Steven. Not a lot of people, even the OGs, have good hatch rates. Okay, they have numbers. They fucking get like 20 eggs and they're happy with 8 babies. But I gotta say, shout out to Garrick. Okay, Garrick from House of Blue was definitely the person who helped me, like, as far as get dialed in with incubation. But also, I see Garrick has good numbers when it comes to like babies hatching out for the most part and going the distance. So I know there's something to it to where we just can't ignore like, okay, fuck it, if we get 20 eggs we can only get 8. No, like we could go 20 for 20. Like there is a method to this. And so
I'll say I have not lost a single healthy egg before hatch date.
Epic. And think about the eggs that go bad when they're healthy. Okay, there's just certain things that aren't being done at certain times, and adjustment is, I feel like, maybe I can't say for everybody, but it has to be necessary. Like it has to be a huge factor of why you could get high success rate of the chondros coming out of the egg. It's because of that adjustment. Okay, and I want to talk about what it is that you make adjusting wise when it comes to you incubating, or if you just want to go from the top. So you get a nice clutch of eggs, and your incubator set to what, and then for how many days do you go until you change it? Why don't we just go from there, Steven?
I was thinking I might just start from where the stress really starts. Actually, you got an ovulation.
Oh,
and now what the fuck do you do, right?
Yeah.
What's next? What's the timeline? So I was thinking I would walk you guys through the timeline from ovulation to eggs and through incubation.
Good idea. Let's do it.
Okay, so your female just ovulated. She's swelling. It's unmistakable. You know that this was the ovulation. And you're wondering what's happening next. What do I get ready for next? So I have kind of a timeline here. After your ovulation, for me, it's been between 23 and 27 days later. So think 3.5 to 4 weeks later, you're going to get your prelay shed. And once you have your prelay shed, for me, it's been about 15, 16 days after that before they deposit eggs. All in all, from ovulation to deposition, for me, it's been between 39 and 42 days. So roughly 40 days average from ovulation to deposition. You're going to notice about 5 or 6 days after the prelay shed, your female is going to start cruising around the cage and looking for a place to lay. That's my cue to set up the lay box, which for me, I'm setting up inside their cage. I set it in the back right corner, just above the heat panel of the cage below, with dry sphagnum moss. I have a PVC little hide that I put hinges on the lid so I can check in there every day. I'm keeping that cage extremely humid during this time, so I'm spraying the walls, the surfaces of anything, but I'm not allowing that sphagnum moss to get wet. Once the female goes into the lay box, I remove all perches. I remove the hanging, the deli cup of water that's hanging up top, and I get ready for eggs. Yeah, that's my Maniquari female there, sitting on 22 eggs.
Damn.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that just looking at her. You can hardly see anything.
No.
They're amazing at how they cover the eggs. So, all right, and then now that you've got that going, what I do for hydration for them to still have access to water, I will set up their large floor water dish with a small deli cup sitting inside of it with a shallow bit of water in there. So if it gets tipped over, it tips over into the larger water dish and won't get the sphagnum moss wet. But they still have access to water.
So what, that water's in the egg box or in the cage? I can't remember.
It's in the cage right outside the door of the lay box.
Got it. Okay.
And I have seen them put their heads out of the lay box, take a drink of water, and then pull back in.
Got it.
And then now you're ready pretty much for deposition. At that point, you want to have your egg box ready to go. I usually have mine ready to go maybe 3 or 4 days before, make sure it's nice and warm, doing any last little changes to temperature that I need. I have one of my egg boxes sitting right here. And these are the ones that I suggested to Bill Stagel to get. Nice. This is the half-size food pan from Webstaurant store. It's a Cambro tub. And then the top is a transparent polycarbonate airtight lid. inside of that.
Does that press down at all? Like, does it kind of like when you put the lid on it, does it kind of press down on it? Or do you just sit it on there? Like, okay, yeah. Like, are you pressing down on that?
I do have to press down, and it kind of has a ridge inside that gets airtight. It's actually impossible to open from the corners. When I first got it, I was tripping because the first time I tried to open it when I had eggs inside, I was like, what the hell do? I can't open this thing. I'm going to fling these eggs all over the room. It turns out you have to kind of go in the middle and like kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I think I had a box like that once, and I was tripping out. I was like, "Why can't I fucking open this thing?" I think I ended up breaking it too.
It tripped me out, but I figured it out. It's good, and I'm glad that it's airtight because it leaves the air super saturated at that like 99.9% humidity level. Inside my egg box, I've just got that light. What is this? Light diffuser, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah, plastic diffuser. Yep.
Yep, and then I've just got some PVC attached to it to keep it elevated. At the bottom of this, I'm putting oversaturated perlite.
Perlite, okay.
To where it's almost floating. And I'll tell you why. I do this for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because that perlite is uneven, and it's going to give you actually more surface area to keep that air super saturated, because you want it to be like 100% humidity in there without the eggs getting wet. And that's the other reason why I have the PVC attached to the bottom, so that it stays about ½ an inch above the perlite, just so that the bottom of the eggs sitting on that light diffuser are not getting wet from being too close to the substrate.
What do you do to keep them from rolling around, Steven?
I just set each egg on an individual square, and I'm extremely careful. I handle it like I'm diffusing a bomb. And the other reason I do the perlite is so that if you ever do have a drip from the lid, it's not going to splash the water. Because as you know, getting eggs wet is a huge no-no.
Yeah, big time.
I also keep handy some deli cups with some of that light diffuser in it as well. It's nice if you have an egg that looks like it might be getting wet, or it has a little window and it's more susceptible to getting wet. I will typically put those separately in the deli cup so that they're just a little bit drier.
In a different egg box, Steven, or in the same box with the other eggs?
No, I'll put it in the same egg box over in the corner, and I'll put the ones with a window or that I'm sketchy about over there in that deli cup, and then the rest are in the main area.
Interesting. That's good advice.
That's one of those things where you were talking about like changing along the way. You know, I had one of Luna's eggs that was developing a window sitting on the light diffuser. So I want to say it was day 30 or so. I opened it up and I wiped it down with a little bit of the antifungal foot powder, and then put it into one of those deli cups, and it was totally fine. The window did not grow at all from there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, having that foot powder and that Elmer's glue is pretty crucial, and it's definitely like you don't want to wait too long once you see those windows forming. You want to hurry up and get that like taken care of. A lot of people like to write it out and just see what happens, but like you can literally save that egg if you just stop the wetness. You got to stop the wetness from spreading.
Yeah. I mean, do you want it or do you not want it? I mean,
exactly. And that's the thing too. You know, like I said, like a lot of the like fucking veterans we have come from an era where it's like they're just used to poor results. Like they're
just like, fuck it. If it doesn't eat, it dies. If it gets wet, it gets wet.
I love Marshall to death, but his like hatch ratio is so dog shit. And I'm like, Marshall, we could fix this, dude. And he's like, nah. And I'm like, dude, no. Like, I almost want to be like, whatever egg I could fix for you, can I keep or something? Like, what can we work out, buddy? But it's like at the end of the day, like I said, I feel like there just hasn't been enough information out there, and this is what this is for. You know what I mean? What's the biggest clutch you've hatched so far? 20 something, right?
Yeah, I had 22 eggs from that girl. One of them got its umbilical cord wrapped around its neck, and was not able to get out of the egg in time. But the other 21 are sitting right here doing just fine.
Nice.
And it definitely made it to hatch day. Like, it was attempting to get out. There were scratches. It was kind of tied down.
Okay. Now listen, before we get into like pips and all that stuff, I got to ask you, 87.3 you run, or 80, what do you run up?
So I have mine set to 87.1 to start off.
Okay.
For me, I always, and this is with my cages, with my babies, with the incubator, with everything, I tend to err slightly on the cooler end. And it gives me a little bit of cushion. Let's say your ambient temps go up, or things get hot, or something is off for a moment.
Yep.
You're still in a safe zone with that buffer. If you put yourself at the upper limit, and then you have a warm day in your house, or someone left the blinds open and the sun is hitting the room.
Yeah.
You know, so I like to give myself a little buffer. And honestly, I think that the slightly, not too crazy, but the slightly cooler temps, I feel like people are getting like better hatch rates and healthier babies. So this is all things that I've paid attention to from the beginning. When I was designing my egg boxes, I was talking to people who were having the best hatch rates. At the time, one of the people was Drew Russell. He actually helped me design these egg boxes.
Shout out to Drew.
Yeah. So okay, back to my timeline here. Oh, I didn't mention.
You didn't mention. Go ahead. But you also
on the side of the egg boxes, I do have a couple of holes drilled.
All right.
Those are covered with tape during the first 40 days or so. The time that I'm running it at 87.1, those are covered. Right at about day 40 of incubation, somewhere around there, your eggs are going to start producing a little bit of their own heat. That's when they're starting to absorb their yolk. It starts denting, and they start heating the box up a little bit. At that point, I will uncover some of the air holes, and I will I actually have 2 incubators, just because, you know, I'm not the only breeder here. We've got retic eggs in there too, or whatever else is going on, so I can't be messing with the main incubator temps. So we have another small one sitting on top. What I'll do is I'll take the Govey that I'm monitoring the main chamber of the bigger one with, and I'll move it into the smaller one, and I will adjust the temperature in there until it's about ½ degree lower than where it was in the main incubator. And I will actually take the whole box of eggs out of the main incubator and put them up into the smaller one at ½ degree lower. And then I'll walk it down even further, a full degree, to 86.1 over the next day or two, 0.1, 0.2 at a time.
Nice.
So for the last 12 days or so, I'm running it at 86.1. It's, again, that's safe zone. I'm giving myself some cushion. Even if the box heats up a little bit, they're not going to heat up over 87 degrees.
How many days until it gets to 86.1 would you say? Like, because you don't do it automatically, right? You do it like periodically, in the next few days you keep dropping by the decimal.
So I go from 87.1 to 86.6 all at once when I move the eggs.
0.5.
And then over maybe 2 days after that, I'll slowly move it down 0.1 or 0.2 at a time.
And are you opening up the lid a lot more then? Like, are you somebody
At
who
that
likes
point, yes, they produce more heat, and because of the difference of how warm it is in the box versus the main chamber, they do start to create more condensation on the box. The lid starts to fog up more and starts to build up drips. So yeah, at that point, I'm probably opening the lid every, I don't know, 3, 5, 6 days, something like that, to wipe the lid. And then I'm when I have the air holes uncovered, anytime I open the incubator, I also spray down the walls of the incubator so that the air that's exchanging into the egg box is also already saturated at 80-90% humidity.
Yeah.
It's crucial to not dry them out.
Right.
If you dry out the eggs, it's really difficult for babies to get out of that with their little egg tooth.
Yeah. And you can tell by how some of those eggs feel. Like you could
right.
It's like it's hardening. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. You can tell when you go to pip them manually, you can tell some of the eggs have hardened compared to some of the others. And I feel like that's something that's on us. That's not something that would have happened if mom was taking care of them.
Yep.
So to the people that are saying no manual pip ever, I'm going only natural, that's hogwash. If you're artificially incubating, you're already playing God. You might as well go in there and help them get the last, leg of the race done.
I mean, listen, I get it. Like there's that, fucking 101, like always wait for the first pip, but nah, I think a lot of that, when it comes down to what you're looking at and from your experience, you got to get in there sometimes. Like there's no other fucking choice. But
all right, so now we're at day 40. I've moved the eggs over to the smaller incubator. I've dropped some temps a little bit, and then we go through that last 12 days. At that point, when we get close to pipping, I get another box ready. Almost the same, but it's got some perches in it. I just mutilated some 3D printed stuff from the reptile perch.
Nice.
I've got the one that hangs up top, and then a mutilated little little baby tub. So I'll set this up with damp sphagnum moss, and I'll put some of these little deli cup lids in there. And when I go to pip the eggs, I will move them from the egg crate that I don't want them to get stuck in. I do not want them hatching and getting all mangled up into that light diffuser and going down into the perlite. So when I manually pip, I move them onto these lids that are sitting in this hatch box with the damp sphagnum moss and perches to move on to. And when I decide to pip, I don't pip as soon as I see the first head out. When I decide to pip them is when I see the first egg that has scratches but no head. That's the point when I'm like, okay, I need to get manually involved. And because I'm moving them to another tub, at that point, I do all of them.
You can kind of see the scratches in this egg too. Like if you look closely next to like the actual cuts, you can see the line right there, and that's an actual scratch.
Yep.
So those are the lines you're talking about, right, Stephen?
Yes. So what I'm looking for is an egg that's starting to appear slightly wet and has some scratches in there, but no head has popped out yet. That's when because my first clutch, I actually had one drown. It was fully formed, beautiful, perfect little baby, scratches all over the egg, but it never made it out. And when I pulled it out, there was all kinds of like goo that came out of its mouth and out of its throat.
Wow.
So it had tried to breathe right there at the end, and it never made it out before it needed oxygen.
You think you think that snake was too weak to get out, or what do you think the problem was?
Probably that shell was a little too hard.
Got it.
From the air exchange in the incubator.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that's on me. I felt really bad about that. That could have been another baby sitting in my rack. That could be sitting in somebody's snake room right now, or my snake room right now. But after that, I decided as soon as I see the first egg with scratches but no head out, I'm pipping.
Yeah.
So now I've got eggs pipped, and they're moved over to the hatch box. Yeah, you see there, I don't have the moss anymore. I keep the moss in there because it has antimicrobial, natural, like antibacterial properties to it, which I think is really nice for them to have while they're coming out of the egg and their umbilicus is falling off and all that. Yeah. But it's also kind of gross and it starts to stink real quick.
Yeah.
And one time I even had mold start to sprout on it.
Mm.
So I want to get that stuff out of there pretty quickly too. So as soon as all of the eggs are hatched, all of the babies are out and they've gotten onto a perch, that's when I'll get them into a clean tub with just some paper towel, damp paper towel, and a couple of those lids with water pooled in it so that they have access to water right away.
But not a lot, right? Like I see like it's like
No.
almost droplets. Like it's not a lot of water.
Yeah, so I take the spray bottle and I just spray it maybe 6 or 8 times until there's large droplets there. Not enough to drown in, but enough that they can get some drink.
Now, have you heard of them drowning, or are you just worried that they're going to drown? Like what? Why?
I'm overly cautious about everything I do with my animals, and I mean, chondros are kind of stupid, so yes. I don't want to take chances with these premium animals. You know, like if I've gone this far and done this much to get there, why would I allow them to drown?
Yeah,
that's silly.
It could happen. Like it's just one risk you don't have to worry about. You know what I mean?
It trips me out the people that keep them over water when they hatch. Like I'm just like, what? Like what? Yeah. But you know, it works. It works. Different strokes for different folks. But for me, no. When I move them, I put them in a similar situation in the tubs. So it's a wet tub, damp paper towel, and I use one of those little lids and I just do a little bit of pooled water. And honestly, I keep them that way until they start eating on their own. Because that little lid is really easy to have out of the way. I don't have to remove it whenever I'm going in to feed them. It's just...
I do hate that.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, I feel like that's just an extra thing you're freaking them out, is going in there to remove the water dish, or the people that have to like go in and fully drain out water and get everything prepped for feeding. I don't have to do any of that. I just come in whenever I'm ready and start, you know, tease feeding babies. And even if they wrap next to those little lids or even on top of it with a couple of drops of water, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, just another smart move to consider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask you though, Steven. Now, remind me, like the first sheds, they're on their own, right? Like you don't let them shed together. They're all in their own tub.
Right after they've all hatched and they're like that picture you showed where they're in the tub together, I'll leave them in there for 2 or 3 days like that. Let them fully absorb all their yolk. Make sure the umbilicus is off.
Yeah.
I've sprayed them a few times a day, get a lot of that egg goo off. Every morning those paper towels are just filthy.
Yeah.
So by the time 2 or 3 days has passed, they're relatively clean. They've finished. They're absorbing. Their umbilicus is off. They're good. That's when I'll move them over to their individual tubs. Okay. And again, this is me being overly cautious. Like, I want them to start getting used to their environment, surroundings, their tub, in advance of me trying to poke at them with a pinky. So that next, what is it, week and a half that they're in their individual tubs before their first shed, they're getting used to what's going on. This is my perch. This is water, you know. So I feel like it's just less traumatic than moving them, and then in a matter of a day or two, you're in there messing with them feeding.
Right. And so individually they get put away. Now, I actually, before we get to when you like to even offer a first meal, Steven, do you like to do some sort of treatment with your water? Is it tap water? Like, what do you like to give your baby chondro as far as water goes?
So I use, we have a reverse osmosis system that's specifically for the snakes. So that's what I give them. Well, that's what I use for the spray bottles. And then I have one downstairs that has a remineralization stage where it adds some of the stuff back into the water like you would get from spring water.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm using for drinking.
Mm,
So
okay.
it's super clean, but it does have some of the minerals that you would find in spring water.
Okay. And you're spraying multiple times a day, or you like to spray once a day when it comes to the babies?
For the babies, right when they come out, I'm just keeping it super, super saturated.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do I have any? I have one that's in shed right here. I don't know if you can see, but like it's just covered with water and it's soaking in here right now.
Yeah.
So I just keep the walls, the paper towel, everything just fully saturated.
You're probably changing that paper towel like every other day or something, right? I'm assuming, because it kind of they get gross pretty quick.
They do. So when I'm keeping them that wet, I clean them pretty much every other day.
Yeah, same.
The ceiling, the tub, put a new paper towel in there, and then re-soak the walls, the paper towel, and everything. Because yeah, you're right. It can sprout mold and get funky in there pretty quick. And these things came with a little bit of top ventilation. I don't know if you have any of their baby racks.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, they've got that little top ventilation bit.
I love it.
It's great when the animals are a little bit older, but right there at that beginning, that thing was bugging the crap out of me because it was drying up so fast.
Yeah, okay, that does make a lot of sense.
I actually took 1/8 inch rubber window spline and cut it to the exact size and just plug those things to start off with, just to keep that tub super humid.
If you were to order another one of those racks, would you just have them not have those slots? Well, because I
actually just got this rack ordered like a rush mode for these babies because I had too many eggs in the incubator out of nowhere, and I had to ask them for a favor to get me another pair of racks set up. But no, I love it. It's great. It's just not at the beginning.
Yeah.
So plug it, keep them super humid, saturated, clean them regularly. I also do water changes for the babies every 2 days because for most of them, I'm using that little lid with just a little bit of pooled water. That gets slimy pretty quick. So every other day, I replace that with a new lid and new water, and I just throw them in the dishwasher.
Yeah. It's a good idea. Shout out to Simon. He said that be cool to have why cages cages should have adjustable vents, like to use at your own leisure. You know what I mean? That's
great, but the thing is that we're like pulling a tub over that. If there was something there that was moving back and forth, it would block the tub from pulling out.
Maybe like an insert, and you had to make your own, maybe your own insert, but to capitalize on that, like one of the things I was struggling for years, Steven, it was fucking humidity. Because I was having a hard time getting my humidity up where it wasn't affecting the inside of my cages. And the reason why I was having so many issues is because all the fucking slots I have on the back wall. I think there was like 10 slots, 5 on each side. And it was just unnecessary amount of ventilation. It didn't need that much. So I ended up taping off on the backside about half those vents. And now it's all that problem's gone just like that. So yeah, I think people should consider, and Focus Cube's awesome about let them know what you need and they'll fucking do it. Like just let them know what your what your room's like, and if you are battling humidity, you might not need as much ventilation, and let them know that and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have little tricks for all my stuff to keep them more humid during shed. Like the juvie racks, they have that little gap around the Cambro tub on the top. So I actually have this really thin little cutting board that's meant for children. And I just slide that under the Cambro tub when one of them's in shed. And it just lifts the tub up to where it's flat against the top, no gap. Stays super humid. But again, when you do that, you have to clean it often. Can't leave it stagnant for very long.
So are you noticing when initially when you have your babies all put away, what's the average shed time you're seeing? Are you seeing that they all work differently, or are they all kind of going together? Do you have a run?
The average is about 12 days after being born, and the the babies that come out on day 1 of hatch day, 12 days later, they'll shed somewhere around there. And then the animals that come out the next day, 12 days later, they'll shed. So it's spread out over maybe 2-3 days. But that's about what I see. Roughly 12 days after hatching.
And you're somebody who's very keen on feeding after the first shed, right? Like you don't like doing pre-shed feedings?
I have not. I thought about doing it this year, but they just look too uncomfortable and covered in that thick baby skin. I just didn't want to poke at them yet. And it worked out really well. I got 20 out of 21 of these to eat first try after their shed.
Nice. How soon after that shed? Did you wait a couple days?
Same day.
Same day.
Same day.
Heard about that.
Yeah. So actually, I was telling someone recently, my most successful day getting a baby to eat is the day that it has its first shed. My most successful second day getting a baby to shed is the day of its second shed.
Wow.
So
interesting.
And that's been like by far the constant here. So it's worth noting. And me and my wife were talking about it, and it seems kind of appropriate or logical here. After they shed or slough their skin, they're probably pretty tender. I imagine like almost feeling like maybe after you have a sunburn or skin peel from a sunburn,
fresh, like super
fresh. And that fresh skin that's this tender. So they're very irritable, and they're a lot more reactive. If you let them rest and let that new skin callus a little bit, then you might get less reaction from them. So if I don't get them to eat on their first attempt on the first day of that first shed, I'll still push them. But my main goal after that, like Gary Shavino has said, is getting them to that second shed.
Yeah.
So
how do you do that? Like assist feeding? Like you're like, even if you're saying don't even waste time, get assist feed them and get them to get to their second shed. Okay. And then offer?
I wait 1 month. Okay. So I'll give them a month, and I'm pushing them periodically through that time. But I'll tell you, the chances of you getting them to eat throughout the month, if you didn't get them to eat that first day, is pretty low.
Yeah.
So after that first month is up, then I start assist feeding, and you've showed pictures of that before. I do the little mouse parts, the little drumsticks from mice legs.
Yeah.
And my first clutch, I feel like I was I held back too much on that. I'm being more aggressive this time, and I'm actually getting better results from it.
Yeah.
So I'm making sure in the same period of time that the other babies are getting a day-old pinky, which is every 5 days if they're eating well.
Yeah.
Every 4 or 5 days. I'm making sure that the non-feeders are getting 2 mouse parts in that same period of time.
Yeah. And I learned that, like, don't be scared to double down, because they could take it, and that has a huge effect versus just giving them one, for sure. I've noticed that.
I've told you guys before that I'll tease feed with not just pinkies, but usually when I'm trying my first feeding, I'm coming in with the day-old pinkies, I'm coming in with chick down, and I'm coming in with a few of those mouse legs. I have found that if they will bite the pinky but drop it, they'll readily bite, but they drop. I'll immediately switch over to doing the legs. They'll bite that, and because it's small, it's stuck. They swallow it, and then I'll wait. I'll wait for them to swallow it, and then I'll come back at them with the pinky. Now, I've noticed that once they've swallowed something, they seem to be a lot more receptive to biting, wrapping, and swallowing again. So where they wouldn't have taken the pinky before the leg, after the leg, they often will.
Do you try Bill's technique with the chicken gizzards yet? Have you done any of that technique?
I have not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Tell
thinking.
tell me about that. Is that like a scent thing or?
Oh, not even scented. He'll just thaw it out, cut it in these like really cool, like basically cuts it in the shape of a gecko. Like it looks like just like a slender, like tender little slice. You know what I mean? And then he just offers it to him. I've never done it. I think I'm at the point with one knee. I have one little pain in the ass for my clutch last year, who like has gone back and forth, and now it's not wanting anything but a gecko. And I'm like, buddy, I gotta savor these geckos over here. And so even though I got tons, I'm still like, I don't want to just keep giving geckos to this thing. He needs to hurry up and get over it. And so, but I'm wondering, all right, then maybe I could fake him out and get him something a little bit more meatier, like a chicken gizzard. So I'm thinking I'm gonna approach that for the first time. Not sure how it's gonna go, but also, like you said, it just dawned on me, because what this guy is doing to a pink, he keeps biting it and letting go, letting it go. I haven't done a mouse leg to this guy yet, so I think I'm gonna offer a mouse leg tonight.
So let me give you a little bit of advice on that too.
Sure.
After you get the mouse leg, I actually warm them up the same way I warm up my pinkies, and I have it right here.
Oh,
I've
cool.
told you guys before, the little candle warmer with a little cup there.
Yeah.
That's how I warm all of mine, and I just sit there with the gun and temp check it until it's about 105 degrees. And I say 105 and not any warmer, because after you get past like 110, they start popping.
Yeah.
So I go to about 105 degrees, and I'll warm the legs up the same way, but have a paper towel handy and roll the leg over the paper towel. Remove that moisture. It becomes sticky. It's really like gummy almost.
And it starts to smell too.
Well, the thing is when it's wet, if they open their mouth to drop it, it falls out.
Yeah, it's
but
wet.
If it's sticky, from rolling it over the paper towel, it's like gummy. It's stuck. They'll open their mouth and it'll just stay there.
Yep.
And then wait for them to swallow that, and then offer the pinky. See if it doesn't work. Almost, and I won't say 100%, but almost 100%. If they will grab the pinky and drop it, I can get them to eat this way.
Yeah. Yep. And what's crazy is the way when they take that first mouse leg, they look at you like, I want another one. Like they're like almost fired up and ready to go.
It primes them up for going again.
Yeah.
And they can handle a mouse leg and a pinky.
Yeah, they can. I've experienced that myself, because I had, for whatever reason, like you said, the pink wasn't working. Even though it was striking it, it just wasn't working. And then I did the mouse leg, and not only did it eat it, but it wanted more. And then I was able to manipulate it and give it a pink. But also and also David Brahm said this on the show not too long ago. But like, I think it's so important that you dry that fucking prey item after you're getting it warm. No matter what it is, I mean, I know someone might take them soaking wet, but when you dry that up just a little bit, like just roll it in the paper towel, I think it has a completely game changer when it comes to offering that, for sure.
Oh, funny, like I didn't do that last time, but after I saw a video of I think it was Mark Hager that was showing a feeding video where he did that.
Yeah.
I started doing it, and now it's just habit. I always grab a paper towel as soon as I come in here to feed, and I'll just drop the pinky, roll it, dip it in the chick down. And again, I think it helps with it being not wet. Like, it's the sensation when they hit it. Like, they realize it's wet. That's weird.
Yeah, it throws them
so
off.
Like, hitting something that's like semi-dry and fuzzy, like, it just works better. And now I do it. It's funny, like, I'm even up there doing it with some of the yearlings that are eating like adult mice already. I don't know why I'm dropping them onto paper towels, but it's just a habit now after seeing Mark do that, and I've been doing it so much.
So I got to ask you, Steven, like one thing I'm noticing, once they get going and they're eating, bro, they take off, and like you could feed them pretty good. I've been feeding mine anywhere from like 3 to 5 days. I don't know how often you're feeding yours, but I'm curious, how often are you feeding your babies, and like how quickly are you bumping up their meals?
So if they're eating like right off the bat on their own, I'll just do 5 day intervals, mostly. For if I have like an extra pinky and I need to get rid of it, and I've got someone that I know will take it.
Yeah.
But if they've waited several months to start eating, I'll do more like the 4-day intervals. Try and get them caught up a little bit. Well, there was like a second half of that question that I'm falling off on.
How quick are you bumping up the meals?
Okay, yeah. So on that, somewhere around 10 to 12 meals. Usually they're big enough to where they can start taking the large pinkies.
Okay, and so theoretically, in about a year, they're already on like small mice. You're saying by the time they get to a year?
Yeah, my 14-month-old animals from the first clutch are eating adult mice now.
Okay, and you're keeping them on mice throughout the entire time, right? Like from what I understand, you don't do rats, or you do rats?
Only for breeding females. I use it as kind of a fat and calcium bumper.
Right.
So for females that I'm trying to get to breed, it's a good way to get some larger meals in them, giving them weaned or small rats. And then after they have laid a clutch, I'll also like switch between colossal rats or mice, like the retired breeders, just a fat bomb, and then a young rat, because they have a lot denser bones. So that's going to help put some calcium back in them.
So you don't go anything bigger than like a rat pup or a weaned rat, is what you're saying? You like keep it in that young rat stage before it's a full adult?
The largest I've given them is a small rat for my bigger girls.
Bigger girls, yeah. And when are you implementing that? Is that during pairing, before they're paired? Like, when do you like to hit them with that bigger meal? Like,
when I'm prepping them for their fasting period, because I do food cycling.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm trying to get them bump up their weight a little bit before then, I'm giving them the wean rats, small rats, and then after they come back on the food after the
fast or
the fast, I actually do smaller meals. I'm doing like an adult mouse, but I'm doing it weekly.
Every week, right?
Yeah, and I'll throw in some bigger mice than just the adults.
Yeah.
But the idea is to hit them like every 7 days, 10 days max. But I try to keep it around 7 days and just keep hitting them with that, because you think in nature that's what's really priming them up, is the availability of food.
And that's what, yeah. You know? And after shutting them down mentally, that's what they want. They want food. And it's so smart. Dude, it's like a light bulb went in my head, but it's so smart that you're giving them small, more frequent meals, because even if you're giving them regular sized meals, they still want more. Mentally, they are designed to, like, no matter how big the meal is, they're going to take whatever they can get. Like, I have females that I've kept on small rats during pairing, and they still want to eat. They're at the glass, like, hey, like, they got a full ass stomach and they still want to eat. And it's because they're in that.
They're ravenous. They're building follicles. They're getting ready to have babies. They need more.
Yeah.
But that like pounding them with food, that's what I think is really what's stimulating the follicle development and going into I'm gonna make babies now.
Yeah, so true, man. Now, how long is your fast for them? Like, how long do you like to not feed them for?
So I actually fast all of my animals annually. Anything over 3 years old, I fast. For males and younger animals, I only do it for 6 weeks. But for females that I'm trying to breed, I'll do it for 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay, and that's when does that start?
So I've adjusted it now for some of the animals that are breeding at different times of the year, but for most of the collection, it starts on June 1st. So then mid-July, I'll put the males and the younger animals back on food, and then middle or late August, I'll start hammering the females with food.
Yeah. I, like you said, I kind of cater to like what the animal is to like shut them off, but I think I'm going to start hard shutting everything off, like no matter what it is, at a certain point. Like even my ball pythons, all the other snakes, like I want this whole room to have like a no food period. Because I think that's so important. Like I mean, especially if you're used to feeding, if you're used to fucking hammering with food all the time, dude, some of those will never breed because they're just, all they know is eating. You know what I mean?
So I had this really cool write-up that I shared a while back that talked about how like every time they eat a meal, they're putting away a few calories for a yolk sac, and they're getting ready for this, you know, making babies thing. But like the way the animals tell time throughout the year, especially in a tropical environment where temperatures don't change much, is scarcity of food and then the abundance of food. So that's how they tell like the passing of time. If you're not giving them that passage of time for them to recognize when is it a good time, when is it a bad time, biologically they don't know. Their body is confused because it's always a good time, and you know they're getting ready for something that's maybe never going to happen. But giving them these cues of the passage of time with food is really priming them, like, now's the time. I saved up the calories, now's the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, I feel like breeding in general, that's what it's about. Like, like, no matter what the reptile is. I mean, and obviously with monitors, like you get monitors to go when you hammer them with food at the right time.
At the right time. That's the big thing too, is at the right time.
At the right time. Yep. And you know, obviously you got to give these things signs too. Like that's why the whole point of cycling is to let them know, like give them triggers.
Yeah.
And that dude, triggers from not only cycling, like to breed, but like to take shits, like all sorts of things you should be considering doing to help your chondro think like normally, you know? Yeah. I can't tell you, ever since I shut these fucking panels off, bro, and I just been running ambient. Oh, I feel so much better. Like it's just, I see my animals acting more like a, you know, how as they should. They pick different parts of the enclosures, and like even though they're pretty much like clockwork, they still go from left to right, left and right. And I want to see a moving chondro. Like I hate, well, I'm so used to seeing things just sit in the same spot because in their head they think this heat is what they need. And man, I just feel like a lot of these people could save themselves some headaches if they could learn how to run ambient and not have those panels running all the time, you know, because that's the killer right there, bro. Those fucking panels. Don't like them. Obviously, you need them when they're gravid. That's important, but having them on when your room's already kind of warm, it's unnecessary. They don't need it that warm. Like I feel like the low 80s is like they love that shit. 81 and a half, 83 is like, if you could keep, I
have some that really prefer being like 79, 80 degrees, and they just do not do well if they're in hotter than that. They'll ground themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and the fast is also really important from keeping them from getting like super morbid and obese and lethargic. You know, they go into that state of estivation and they're in calorie saving mode, and then you're feeding them. It's natural for them. It's not natural for one of these snakes to eat every 2 weeks on the dot. It's not at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the wild chondros. They're like 600 grams. They move 800 feet from their sleeping spot to their hunting spot.
Yeah.
They're not, as some people might like to think, they are not 3,000 grams.
No.
You know, people in that school are nuts. I mean, you're just pushing your chondros to the brink of death, and you're lucky if you don't get egg-bound females.
Okay, you got to think what makes a big reptile: a lot of heat and a lot of food, right? If you give them a lot of heat and a lot of food, they will grow. And the reason, and first and foremost, I forgot who I had this conversation with, but chondros aren't even really known to go bask. Like they'll go places where they got to eat, but they stay hidden. Like they are hiding. They don't want to be seen. So that's why I feel like, you know, like there's certain reptiles like a bull-eye or even an emerald that need that. I feel like it's important. That basking period during the day is important, but I feel like chondros, like not a gravid female, but just overall keeping chondros, they like it pretty like consistent temps, but it just doesn't have to be that warm. And it, you know, and you could even go lower at night, but it just doesn't have to be that warm during the day from what I'm seeing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even my babies, they have spots between low 80s and maybe 84.
Yeah.
Some people keep them 86 plus. Not doing that.
And you haven't had any prolapses, huh? Or you have?
I have not.
Wow, Steven, you fucker. God, dude. I wonder what it is. Like every clutch I've had, there's been at least one or two prolapses.
I mean, let me knock on wood here. I've got 36 babies all full of pinkies right now. I don't need that.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah. I got to figure that shit out. And I don't know. I have an idea.
Something I have heard, and I don't know any validity to it, but that I actually would prefer my babies to eat pinkies with chick down on it than without, because it's almost like adding a little bit of fur to it. Yeah. It's something to I don't know, give it what's the word I'm looking for, like
texture, like some sort of substance. Yeah. Like so like
almost like fiber, something to like hold it together, you know,
calcium or something. It helps. But the ones I had, okay, now normally, Steven, the prolapses I was dealing with are ones after their first couple meals or something. These ones fucking gave me prolapses well into like 15, meal number 15, 16. They're already on fuzzies, and they just happen to prolapse out of fucking nowhere. They were like the nicest ones that I wanted to hold back too, and two of them prolapsed out of nowhere.
Were they locality? Were they designer? What were they?
Pure locality, pure BX.
Okay. Yeah. So something I have noticed, and I don't know if this is across the board or just my experience, but I've noticed with my designer babies, one meal equals one shit.
Yeah.
I've noticed with my locality babies, one meal equals 2 or 3 shits.
Yeah.
And that could be a factor too.
They should have. You're so right that you said that, because I have seen their prolapse. I squeeze out whatever it is that need to squeeze out. And then they shit again, and there's no prolapse, but they have a couple more shits after that initial prolapse shit. And until I feed them again, then that's when that prolapse is coming. It's from the initial shit, not the 3 other ones. But dude, you're right. These fucking chondros, they shit 3 times after I give them a meal, at least.
So I wonder if it's honestly like locality animals are a little bit more prone to it because they just shit more.
Maybe. I mean, I know
animals that are like 12th generation selective breeding that don't give a fuck about life anymore. Yeah. And they're a lot more sedentary and honestly bigger too. So like my designer babies, the eggs were bigger, the babies were bigger. They shit less. They're harder to get eating, that's for sure.
Yeah, no complaints with, most of my clutch fucking are monsters. They just eat, you know what I mean? So
yeah, so like the locality animals all just fucking smashed it. And even the reactions that I'm getting, it's like a wild animal just like going up into that S shape. Like you see those snakes on the street that are in the S and it's holding their whole body weight up by the tail. That's going on over here. That's not going on over here. These guys are like spastic and retarded.
You're talking about the pure monochrory clutch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so remind me, that's the clutch that went 20 for 21 eating, or?
Yeah. 20 for 21 first try.
And then how'd the other clutch go? The other babies over there?
The other one, I got 8 out of 15 the first try.
Okay.
And now they are 2 months old and I'm at 11 out of 15.
Remind me, Steven, how you like, I know you said you like to press them, but like, for instance, if you go offer a meal and it's not going to work out, do you try that next day? Do you wait 2 days? Like, when do you go after it again?
I'll do 2 days back to back after a shed. So I'll try the day of shed, and if it doesn't work, I'll try the next day. After that, I only push them like once every feeding period. So if I'm feeding every 4 to 5 days, then I'll push them once every 4 to 5 days. And if it doesn't work, usually I'll wait till the end of that period. So like I assist feed them, let's say on Monday, I will push them with tease feeding on Thursday. And if that doesn't work on Friday, they're getting another assist feed.
Okay.
So give them time to digest that meal, get hungry again, ready for it. Then I'll push them again. If that doesn't work, you get another meal, and then we'll do this over and over and over again until it works. And again, it was that second shed where it really took off. So like I had 8 out of 15 of the designers right off the bat, and those really, like, they continued to progress and do well. It wasn't until the day of the second shed that I got 3 more to eat. And then it'll probably be the next shed when I get a couple more to eat. I'm telling you that day of shed is clutch.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I didn't connect the dots on that. I'm not gonna lie, but I definitely I remembering certain ones that didn't eat after the shed that were just a pain in the ass. Like now that I remember, I eventually got all of them going. Like I think within like a month and a half, but that month and a half was like I was kind of like wondering like what the fuck's up with these ones, you know? But I also do. I was gonna ask you, like, have you noticed some of them like to eat at night, some like to eat in the morning? Like they just have different preferences in the beginning. Have you noticed any of that, or do you just like stick to like you are gonna eat at the same time?
I make attempts at different times, and I have had it work for a few babies. It hasn't worked for a lot of them, but yeah, I do notice like sometimes I'll come in the morning to do my checkup and cleaning and spray them, and like you can see they're wiggling their tails, they're ready, they're alert. So for those, I'll come back later and I'll try an early morning session, like either right before lights on or right after lights on. And for others, I'll make an attempt right before lights out or right after lights out. But most of my work I do all at the same time. And for me, I noticed because I get really stressed out dealing with them.
Dude, it's no joke.
Well, and I get anxious like leading up to going in there and working with them. Yeah. And I noticed if I wait until after dinner, I have like no appetite, so I'll just sit there staring at my food. So I've taken to going in between like 2 and 4 p.m. right before dinner, and I'll spend that time with them. And that way the stress is done. I can go out and have a glass of wine or a beer and eat my dinner, and I'm good.
Yeah, that's good. That's yeah.
I mean, don't let these things ruin your appetite, guys. Go in there before dinner.
Yeah, you know, it's a good point. Like you some of this stuff will run your life for a bit, you know, only because you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You go into every feeding like sometimes thinking the worst, sometimes thinking the best, and then the worst happens, and then you're really fucking thrown off. I mean, these things could really test your patience. Like even after they eat their first meal, their second meal, they could throw a curveball at you and be like, oh, I don't want to eat. And then you're like, what the fuck is happening? But you got to find that zone that you feel most like head level ready for. I do know that like late afternoons, man, like anytime I was trying to find these fuckers to be hungry, it's always around like 2 to 5 o'clock, man. Or like, I would say even like 3 to 5 o'clock, like the late afternoons before it gets dark or as it's getting dark. And my room is at the peak warmness that it's at during the whole day. But I don't know. Everyone has different types of angles. Like I feel like it's definitely getting in the zone. Like you mentally have to just say like whatever you got to say to yourself to stay positive. Cause man, like you said, man, like I had a rough time too. Like I had some feeding trials where I'm fucking pissed. Like I'm just like, I have to tell myself like, dude, these are neos, like relax. Like, and I'm
some of my best days and worst moments have happened right here in this closet.
Bro, and you know what's crazy? I forget how thin my walls are in this fucking goddamn place. So my wife she's had some concerns. Like, yo, are you good? Like, love you, babe. Sorry. But yeah, man. Yeah.
Other tips too is like come in prepared with anything you need to be comfortable. So if I'm working with animals low in the rack, I have a pillow that I sitting in here.
Nice.
For animals that I'm working in like mid-range in the rack, I have actually a kneeling pad so that I can keep my knees comfy while I'm sitting there messing with them. And then for the animals that are further up, I've got this little cushy stool to sit on. I come in here with my relaxing music on, my earbuds in, you know, whatever you got to do, you know, take a shot if you need to, or a puff of whatever you need to, and you come in relaxed. And something I also want to like remind people, and I have to remind myself all the time, that this is what we do for fun. This is our passion. This is what we love doing. We love these animals. We love dealing with these animals. So try to make it like a happy, like fun, enjoyable moment. They're going to test you, of course, but if you try to keep that mental space, you'll sit there and you'll be more amazed at every little moment you have with them and every success that you have with them, rather than just being frustrated constantly.
And it's a lot easier said than done, because like you try to be all like positive and, you know, happy and hopey, but like you said, there's times where these things fucking throw curveballs at you. But at the end of the day, like, remember, like you said, why we're in this. It's because this is therapeutic and this keeps us like a kid at the end of the day. So there has to be times you got to check yourself. And I tell myself, like, all right, bro, leave right now. Like, if you are not fucking like have patience and you have about 12 more to feed, just leave the room and go take a deep breath or something. Go smoke, like you said, figure it out, or even wait till tomorrow. Maybe don't do it. If you're not feeling good, do it tomorrow. Like they're going to be okay. You know what I mean?
They're not going to die from missing a meal one day.
Yep. But yeah, definitely like the getting in a mental good headspace, bro. That takes time, because when you're new and you get your first clutch, you don't want to fail. Like the thing is, like, you just don't want to fail. And there are like, you could be the best fucking person on earth as far as breeding and keeping goes, but there's some things that are just out of your hands sometimes. And so the worst will happen at some point, no matter what. Like, and you just got to know how to deal with it and keep moving, you know? But yeah, like I said, a lot easier said than done.
One that starts eating and then just decides it doesn't want to live anymore and stops eating for a month, and you're in here cussing and like, yeah, you can have some really frustrating times in here, but keep bringing yourself back to that. This is something that I love. I love these animals. This is my enjoyment. This is my passion, and try to enjoy it.
And if you
I've enjoyed this round a lot more than I did my first one. I was new, and like you said, I was so scared to fail. I was so scared to show my face in the community, not having gotten all of the babies to eat, like anyone even cares or knows what I have in my closet.
Well, and Stephen, you also know there'd be people out there who would love to hear that you failed. You know what I mean? You know,
that's true.
And that plays a little part, because you're like, fuck these guys. I know what I'm capable of, but
yeah.
Like, you gotta celebrate small wins. Like, if I see my Neo striking, that's something to be happy about. And if it's striking and dropping, then we gotta adjust. If you love it this much, you learn to adjust, and you'll learn. You gotta try new things. But if you're sitting back expecting these fuckers to continue to drop the mice, like, dude, you gotta find another outlet, like something. So yeah, man, you gotta obsess over this too, man. Like, and that's one thing I've always respected about you, Steven. Prior to even having your first clutch, you were already obsessive over the game. And I want people to remember, like, obsess over something you feel like you can make money off of. Like, and this community is growing, but there are people who are just breeder ambition. Like they just want to be breeders. And I'm like, bro, you better learn how to keep this fucking thing first, because that's the easy part. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, one of the things that turns me off the most when I have customers reaching out to me for one of my animals is when they talk to me about their investment and business plans, and shit like that. Like, no, even if I had something for sale, I wouldn't sell it to you, because like as soon as you hit the wall where this is difficult, you're fucking out. If that's what you're in this for.
Yep.
I'm in this because I love these animals, and I eat, sleep, and breathe these animals. This has become my life.
Facts.
And I'm happy that I can get some money out of it. That's amazing. That's amazing to do what you love and make money. But you cannot be in it for that reason, because there are easier ways to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. And
right now I'm spending 2 to 5 hours a day in here every single day. You do the math on that over the matter of months, 4 months. How much time have I spent in here just dedicating to these babies and getting them established, keeping them clean, keeping their water clean, and doing everything here because I want to accept here. Yeah. It takes a lot out of you. And like, I've already canceled several vacations over this because this is more important to me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, dude, you nailed it right on the head. You know, there might be, I have a lot of you know, now that I do stuff with Morph Market, like I have a pretty fucking thick schedule on where I need to go this year. But then again, like depending on what happens here, like I might have no choice but to stay back because like having these fucking things thrive and make it is so important to me. Like it's a priority. And it's something that I've been putting in years after year after year work for, so I could get to that point, you know. Yep. But I don't know. Like I said, everyone has different goals. You know what I mean? And God bless whatever your goals are. I just know that I don't want to fuck around with this, and I want to be the best I can be. Because first and foremost, the Green Tree Python community needs more fucking people to like give us, you know, what's working for them and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And that only happens by sticking shit out. So. Yeah. Pretty crazy. What's going on this? So I know a lot of your stuff comes at the end of the year, right? Like your clutches?
Yeah, I got, let's see.
What's going on right now with all your pairings?
I'm pretty much done for this season. I'm more or less waiting for summer for my next pairings. I do have one more female that I keep trying to figure her out. My blue line female from Francis Catan. I keep trying to figure out what's going on with her. She's old enough. She's perfect body condition. She's ready. But like the fasting didn't work. I tried her in the summer. That didn't work. I tried her in the fall. That didn't work. This year I'm going to try her. I'm trying her in the spring.
How old is she?
She is a 2017, so she's 7 years old now.
Okay.
Coming up on 8 at some point.
No, and also too, like here's another thing about what we're doing. Not everything's meant to breed. Like not everything is guaranteed to give you a clutch. Like and not saying that's the case with this female, but like for instance, you got people who say I want a pair of chondros. And I want to breed and I want to get a clutch, and that's fine. But the likely of that happening on just off that pair, and for everything to go perfect, good luck. Like you need a lot of stars to align to where you have one pair of chondro, you get a nice healthy clutch, and it all worked out for you. Not that doesn't happen; it happens, but you need numbers. Like if you don't have numbers on your side, good luck.
I don't have big numbers. I have like 14 animals upstairs.
Yeah, that's pretty good though. Like you have how many females that you pair a year?
Generally 4.
That's a good average. I feel like pair ratio from what I've heard most people go. And the thing is, you're having good luck with that 4 pairings.
Well, and I've had people reach out and they're like, "Oh man, you're so lucky. You don't have that many animals, but they're all bangers, and you're getting this high yield of production out of this small collection." And I'm like, it's not luck at all. I worked really, really hard and took a long, long time to get here. There was no shortcuts. There was, and when I was getting my animals, I was making friendships and making relationships and talking to people way in advance of this stuff. And I'm not going to kid you. I even bribed people. I did whatever I had to do to get the animals I wanted. Like a lot of my animals up there were meant to be holdbacks.
Yeah.
And it was only because I became good friends with these people that they were willing to let go of them to me. Like the singularity that's given me, I have my 3rd clutch of eggs from him in the incubator right now, like my all-star designer male. I ate out of a can for a year to be able to afford him. This was hard work. I didn't just fall into this. This was all like planned and deliberate. And I've had people talk to me a lot lately about this food cycling method because it resurfaced on Facebook and whatnot. And one of the big things that I think gets overlooked by a lot of people, regardless of what method you're trying to use to cycle and breed, long-term stability. Mm-hmm. These things don't just show up at your house in a FedEx box and breed the next day.
Yeah.
They've been with me since they were babies. They've been in that room now for 3+ years. I've been fasting them at the same time every year since they were 3. This has all been a lot of work to get to this point. So, while I'm happy and I'm blessed, I wouldn't call it luck at all.
Oh hell no. because you put in the time and you waited. Here's the thing, Steven, like you purposely waited for a lot of the success that you're having now because you were paying attention to the people who had success around you. And the biggest thing, I just felt like you weren't rushing it. And that's the thing, like we're in a time where people rush, like they want quick results. But that doesn't happen when you buy something that has been on earth for fucking multiple years. Like here's the thing, you hear a lot of people who have disaster, like they have disaster results from an adult female that they acquired from somebody else.
Yep.
Okay. But you don't hear that a lot from a snake that they raised up. Like it's a whole nother ball game when that snake's been in your collection its whole life versus getting something that was in someone else's collection. Like I'm not saying it's impossible, like because I have snakes on breeder loan here that are adults, and I told the guy, listen, no fucking guarantees. I'm just so I know these are NIDO fucking tested and they're clean, but they could crash the second they come in here for whatever reason. And I hope you're okay with that. And that was agreed on. But you know, you just don't have high expectations when you're taking in an adult, and it's almost something I feel like you should avoid. Like you're almost playing with fire, way too much fire by doing that. You know what I mean?
So go the long route, get involved in the community, help people, make a name for yourself, be patient, talk to the right people, make friends. Like it all matters. Everything we do here matters. And it plays a part in the final results you're going to have. And I would hope that newcomers could learn that from me, that like taking that long route, being patient, and doing things the right way, and you know, helping other people and making a name for yourself. Like not everybody can run a forum or run a podcast, but everybody can go on and answer questions. Just get involved, learn, grow, make friends. You know, this isn't luck. This is hard work.
For sure. Definitely. Definitely. If we're talking about your story here, like I've seen it, like I've seen you grow to the point where you're at, and you've committed a good part of your life to it, man. So, but I got to ask you this, Steven, you know, has anyone come to you with like a guarantee, like they want to guarantee that the snake's going to turn this or that? And have you had to explain to them how it works, or what do you do when that's I guess the question asked? Like, if I spend this much money with you, are you going to promise me it looks like this? Are you getting
people coming to me for singularity babies? This isn't the first day. I've not had to deal with a lot of the issues that people that are dealing with like entry-level chondros have. I might deal with a little bit more of that with the Maniquari here. But no, with the designers, I mean, mostly you get other breeders and collectors and people who already have 5 or 10 of these things, and they already have a room dedicated to it, and they already know what they're doing, and they already have stuff set up and ready, established for the animal. I really haven't had too many people come to me with wild ideas, and I've had maybe a couple that might have been that way this last time try and reach out to me, but I avoid even dealing with them. Sorry, they're all spoken for. I don't have anything. I'm just not even trying to deal with that, to be honest.
I love it. Sorry, all sold out.
I mean, at the same time, it's true though, because like I had people signing up for Singularity Luna babies after the first clutch. So like people that are going to get babies from this clutch, they were waiting since last year.
Yeah.
So people that are showing up when I'm posting the picture of a cool baby, like, bro, you're way too late on this train.
Yeah. So you are keeping wait lists then?
I do. I keep wait lists actually indefinitely. Like when Francis Gatan first mentioned he wanted a baby from Singularity, when he was like 2 years old. Damn. I put his name on the list and I kept it there. And when I got my first clutch from him, he was the first one on the list, and he got his first pick of all the babies.
Frank's a man too. He's somebody where if he says he wants some, he's getting it.
He's getting it. But like that's what I've done. So I've had people on my list, some of them for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and I'll keep them there. And the names I have left over that I can't help this time, I'll keep it on there for the next time.
So I was on your bumper about a couple months ago, but where am I? What list am I on? I know I told you I need something at some point. We really got to discuss that off podcast. But you do have some. you do have some potent shit, man. Like some of the best potent shit out there. And like I said, well deserved, but bro, like you skyrocketed your projects up to some of the best doing it in the game right now. You know,
I feel like I kind of have. I mean, I was patient and really, really selective with the breeding stock that I brought in, and now all of a sudden, like, I mean, not to like toot my own horn here, but some of the coolest chondros in the world now are in this house.
Flex. Dude, oh my god, that's fucking gives me chills.
But that's the thing, like I got some really cool stuff that breeders were willing to let go of to a friend, but now I'm getting the best of the best because I bred them myself.
Yes.
You know, and if you want the best of the best, that's probably what you're gonna have to do is breed it yourself.
And if you really want an impact in this, like that's what it comes down to. It has to come from your own collection. And another thing too, I don't know how much you plan on holding back your own stuff, but like how important do you feel like that is for wanting to create some sort of a lineage legacy for yourself? Like, don't you feel like holding a lot of this shit back is kind of important, Steven? Or how do you look at it?
So I want it, like, there's all kinds of different things that excite me about this. So I love the idea of getting to pick my holdbacks and keeping the coolest looking animals and whatnot. But I also really love the idea of having cool animals posted from someone else's collection that came from me. Like that one that Bill has from me. Every time he posts that shit, I just get, it just makes my heart happy to see something that I produced out there looking that gorgeous in somebody else's snake room.
And Bill has it.
that's totally fine. He's a good dude and he's going to do good things with it. So I'm super happy about that. And like, there is stuff that I'm going to hold back and watch the OCC, but there's also stuff that I'm going to let go as babies. And, you know, some of that could be the best in the clutch. I don't know. But for me, I prefer to raise my animals from neonates. So I like to give other people the opportunity to raise their animals from neonates and do it the right way.
So you're going to give back to the people by potentially giving them the best holdback in the clutch.
Sometimes, maybe. But like, so out of my first clutch, the one that you posted on the little thumbnail, turning into a freaking super blue, that thing's amazing.
Yeah.
That was one of my holdbacks from my first clutch. And then in this the second Luna Singularity clutch, I'm actually keeping a few more. I'm going to keep a third of the clutch this time. But
what's up with this one?
Also because yeah, I've got that one here. I'm actually that one is actually going to Oscar Villagomez.
You sold this?
You lucky son of a bitch is getting that animal. Yep.
Lucky? You gave it, dude. What do you mean? You can, dude, this is a black fucking neonate and you're selling it.
It is indeed.
Oh my God. I'm sweating right now. I can't,
MJ, I had 3 of them.
I know. I would keep all 3 of them.
I can't keep all of them. I don't want to keep all the good stuff. I just want to keep some of the good stuff.
If I make anything black like that, it is staying. I don't give a fuck. I will find a way. And I would get my wife involved. I'm like, listen, we need a whole nother room. Like, cause dude, I don't know. Like I said, Steven, like I didn't come in this the same way you did for sure. Like I came in this, like, you know, I got what I can get with imports. I saw stuff like this, like, you know, I saw the sickness. I'll never forget seeing the sickness. And I'm like, in my head, I was like, I'll never have anything like that. Are you kidding me? So I'm happy to be where I'm at, but God damn it, if I get anything like that I could produce, I'm hoarding the shit out of that. And maybe I say this now, and like you said, you got 3 of those motherfuckers, so I get it. Like, why not? But holy shit, that's the bee's knees for me, bro.
This year was a bigger clutch, and so there was a bigger variety. And there was some stuff in this clutch that there was not in the first one. Yeah. That I'm excited about. Like, there's this really super, super chocolatey, like brown one that I've never seen one that's that saturated brown. I can't capture it in any of the pictures, but what I see in front of my eyes is insane. Like, that animal I'm super excited about, and it's got white diamonds. It reminds me a lot of like Zeus when it was a baby.
Oh lot of this shit, bro. Like just going down your Instagram gives me fucking like a little bit of anxiety, but like good anxiety. Like it's like this, like right here. Like look at this thing, bro. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So that's from my first clutch. That thing is pretty gnarly. It's turning.
Are you keeping it or are you selling it?
No, I mean, I sold that one and bought it back.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, you're a mini Bill Stiegel. Like you have the you are on the same your exact same time as Bill Stiegel. I'm not joking, bro. Holy shit.
Yeah, I sold that as a Neo. I knew it was going to be special. I actually tried to send that to Francis Gatan, but he wasn't having it. He picked another baby, which his animal is going super blue. So he didn't pick too bad either.
No, right. Oh my god, this thing
But
is...
yeah, I tried to send him that. He didn't take it, so it went to the second person on my list. But when they decided they were letting their collection go, I immediately jumped to buy it back. It didn't seem right to have that go to anyone else.
Oh man,
so that one's back here in my house now.
And yeah, I don't know. That's pretty neat. Like I said, dude, you got a lot of shit. Where I guess you're right. With the amount of eggs that you're hatching out, you can't realistically keep all that, you know. But it would be for me. I feel like I would have such a hard time picking. I really
I'm
would.
keeping 5 of Luna's babies this time, and what I tried to do was pick one of each different kind of phenotype that she produced in this clutch. So like I have my super dark one that's close to black. I have one that was a lighter rust red color, similar to the number 4 that you just showed that's turning super blue. I have one that I kept that's a really reduced pattern with like orange diamonds. So I just kind of picked one of each different phenotype because I'm going to see like all the different type of OCCs that it can produce.
Yeah, and it brings me to my next question for you. Like, is there anything outside of like the breeder realm, like the like the John Irby stuff and all the potent stuff that like would you ever consider adding like a really crazy pure locality to the mix other than monocory that you already have? But I wonder if there's anything out there floating like that you would like to add that isn't really a part of what you have going on yet.
So I'm actually going to be adding something from John Irby soon that I was pretty excited about. It's one of the calico babies that he produced last year. Was it Frostbite? I forget the calico female's name.
What up?
But yeah, calico. I wanted to add some more of that because I want to continue produce more black and blue. So I need to bring black in. I need to bring blue in. The Void up there, she's kind of a super mutt from Patrick Holmes. So that's not like a that's not like 12 generation lineage right there, but that's still some really funky fire that I'm excited about. Yeah, I'm keeping that entire clutch back. She is by far my most melanistic female. She's got more melanism than probably most females out there. I mean, you might be able to name on one hand how many other females have that kind of melanism.
What's up with Confetti, bro? What's he looking like now?
Confetti? Oh, that's not my animal.
This thing is fucking nuts. I thought this was yours. Who owns this? Is this Ken Snake?
That's Ken Deal, yeah.
Oh, so Ken owns this. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Mark Hager. I post my own stuff, but I'll also post other people's stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a pretty big following, so I try to give other people shout outs too and just show some of the coolest shit out there.
Oh yeah, you're known for that. That's cool. I didn't connect the dots till now. I thought this was a snake you got from Ken. No. I'm curious what this snake looks like now. Wonder if it held that black or gained more. Who knows? But it's funny. Look at that brown that you were talking about. Like, do you see how this thing has legit brown going down all, and it's more like a red brown. It's kind of freaking interesting. But anyways, all right, I got a wrap up topic for you. Okay, Steven. Anyone out there?
Didn't pull out any babies. What are we in here for?
Let's do the show and tell first. Why don't we get to show and tell before we get to the wrap up topic? Why don't you? Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Steven wants to show off and flex some of his animals as he should. So why don't you take it from here, and why don't you kind of give us a breakdown what you're showing as you're showing? I'm gonna give you the big screen.
All right. So first up, I was gonna pull out is a one of my holdback Maniquari babies. So you got to think there might be a few generations of selective breeding, but this is something. Let's see. I don't know if I can get a good view on that, but just the number of diamonds on this thing is
yes,
absolutely insane.
Scoot over just a little bit. Yeah, right. A little bit more. Now you can come forward. That's perfect.
Yeah. Just tons of diamonds and pattern. And before I put it away, though, I want to just show you guys the difference between, you know, this is 2 or 3 generations of selective breeding, more or less something that nature could produce. And then I'm going to pull out 12th generation selective breeding. Just look at the difference in tone here.
Yeah, it's fucking unreal. Well, what are the age difference?
So this top one is what, 2 months old, and the bottom one is 1 month old. So they're about a month apart. This was actually the baby you had in that picture, the black one that's going to Oscar.
I cannot believe this shit. I can't believe you're not.
So yeah, black baby, red baby. Very, very different tones going on here.
Steven, I don't want to be rude and you could decline, but do you mind saying how much you sold that black Neo for? Are you comfortable? I'm just curious.
$8,000.
So worth it.
Yeah,
wow.
$8,000.
Oh my god, I would have charged 12. I would have charged 12 all day for that fucking thing. I would, if you really want this thing, give me $12,000. $8K, like I said, that's a good price on that. On that Neo, that's a really good price, I feel like.
And I feel like it's fair. So I could have charged more.
Easy.
I could have charged less, but I feel like I hit a good middle ground there, honestly.
Non-greedy. I feel like that's a non-greedy figure on that snake.
It's a non-greedy figure, and that's kind of what I was going for. I don't want to screw people over, but I don't want to devalue the animal either. I know in some hands that pedigree would just be an automatic 5-figure.
Yeah.
Sure. But
fuck, dude, that thing is so badass. Oof. Do you want to show anything else?
Let's see. I don't know if let's see.
What's up with that brown chocolate one? You got that one you could show?
So here's my holdback dark baby. I don't know if you can see it as well, but yeah, the diamonds on this one were crazy. So still a black Neo, but
you like pattern versus reduced pattern. Like you feel like you like that diamond stuff on the black.
I really do love diamonds on my animals. I'm a sucker for diamonds,
especially the darker, right? The oranger, the weird. Like I feel like that stuff is like,
yeah,
oh, man. You
so,
can't go wrong.
I know you can't see it, but this animal has it has the yellow diamonds, but in the center of each diamond is just this little patch of orange.
Yes, and that should grow. I think that increases from what I understand. I guess maybe not all of them, but Patrick has told me, like, you know, first and foremost, the orange diamonds you should never let go of, and that you'll see some of the dark yellow ones turn orange sometimes. So
I don't think I'll be able to see it super well, but this is actually my favorite baby from the Luna Clutch this year. Just the brown chocolatiness of this thing is just off the charts, and I can't seem to capture it very well in anything, but like it's absolutely saturated brown. I've never seen something with this type of color to it, so I'm really excited to see what happens with this one. I'm thinking something along the lines of Zeus, or it's gonna be a super blue freakazoid, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then also that, you know, we were talking about Frank earlier. He was able to make a baby from Zeus, right? Like he was able to make a production from Zeus that Socrates, I think he got one of those babies, a Zeus baby.
Not sure on that history. I think he did produce one time. What was it? Right. Zeus Pebbles, I think.
I can't remember the pairings like on Patrick Holmes, but I'm only real familiar with Zeus because of Socrates. But yeah, oh man, I don't know. This stuff's all cool to see. I'm excited to see where you're headed. Now, I do got my wrap-up topic for you. And if you could answer for anyone either coming into the chondro game or even already had chondros and they're looking to breed, what's some of the biggest mistakes people do going into breeding chondros, you feel like? Like, what's the number one thing that stands out in your head?
Rushing. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, buying adults, trying to rush the process, not taking due process and putting in the work yourself. I think that's the biggest mistake you can make, especially when you're starting out. Like, you've already bred animals, so getting older animals is one thing, but for someone that's just trying to start out, take the time. Get a young animal, learn, grow. By the time they're ready to breed, you'll be ready to breed them.
And another thing with you, Steven, like, obviously you didn't play around, like you really invested into what you have going for you today. But how does somebody like not overdo it? Like, getting your first chondro could be awesome, but I feel like if you're spending $7,000 on your first chondro, I feel like the pressure's on you right off the bat. But what do you have to say to that? Like, how do you feel like someone could find their happy medium coming into the chondro game as far as how much money they want to drop?
So for me, I started with a goal, and actually Gary Shavino early on in my keeping helped me kind of solidify the idea of what I wanted to do. And it's just stop and think about what end result you're looking for. So for me, that's blue and black. So there's a lot of things that can make blue and black. There's blue line, there's calico, melanistic lines of different lineages, but also maniquari. So for me, that was the foot into the world, was getting a captive bred maniquari, red Neo. Of course, red Neo. So that's my other bit of advice. If you're just starting out and you don't know why I'm saying that, just go with a red Neo. Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Bro, you're gonna get some people upset, and it's okay. I listen. I feel like I don't know, because people do want to, I guess, go into something not having to spend a lot of money, and so they'll see like yellows going for a lot less and instantly fall in love with them. But boy, once you mature, once you start to grow up a little bit, and mind you, there's Ryan Youngs out there; they're all over the place, and you might want a yellow green tree python, and that's fine. God bless you, but there's levels to this for sure.
Yeah.
And it takes time to learn all that. I'm going to double down. Would there ever be a yellow neonate adult that you would want to breed someday? Like, anything out there you want to implement that was a yellow neonate to any of your projects, like, ever? Do you feel like that would ever happen? Wow. He said a hard no. So it's impossible for you to ever make a yellow, right?
So it's not necessarily against them. It just speaks to what I'm trying to do. And I've had that clear in my mind since the beginning. If I'm wanting to make blue and black, yellow is not the way to go. There are some yellow stuff with black, but they're not blue and black. They're yellow and black. I'm not trying to make yellow and black. I'm trying to make blue and black. And another thing why I kept this, I'm so adamant about this, is I want everything in my collection to be cohesive.
Yeah.
So, chondros throw curveballs at you. They could drop dead tomorrow. So let's just say some of my designers drop dead tomorrow, and all I've got left is, this blue line calico male, and I've got this maniquari female. Well, that fits just fine.
Yeah.
It's blue and black all the way through.
Yeah.
So everything that I have, even though I may try to do some like locality stuff, and I want to do some strictly designer stuff, if I needed to mix them, they are also cohesive. And that's why I also said, if you're trying to get in the door to something that's a little bit more affordable, but you have the idea that you might want to go, you know, up later, start with a designer animal or start with a locality animal that will work well with your end project.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, man, it's your piece of art. Like, you got to look at this as a blank canvas. Do whatever the fuck you want, but like, but know what's out there and know what you can do. And mind you, like the possibilities are endless. Like, the shit that you can make it's pretty out of control. You know what I mean? So
another thing I don't think everyone realizes is that after generation after generation after generation of selective breeding, when you've got to the point where you have dominant red animals, that took a long time to get to that point, and you can undo that by pairing it to a yellow neo in one generation. So you pair my dom red animal, let's say I paired Singularity to a yellow neo animal, every single one of those offspring can then have yellow babies. Every single one of them. Not one of them will be dom red anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like you just throw so much work down the toilet.
Yeah, but I will say for the argument for people who are saying that the yellows just are underworked, and the reason why the reds are where they are because the yellows haven't gotten that much time yet, and that yellows will prove to be to reign supreme, apparently, according to Mark Hager. That didn't come from me, but also, like, I do have a little bit of confidence and love with the yellows, but like, I do know it ain't for the black and blues. That's why I love the yellows. I like the black. I like the yellows for another different direction that I could see myself going. But like I said, like, it is contradicting if you look at some of these projects not knowing what the fuck you're doing. You got to have a direction and you got to know what does what. If you have something that dominant red, why would you want to go backwards? That doesn't make any sense.
Right. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's nothing against yellow animals. There's lots of things that they work great for. Pure locality pairings.
Yeah. High yellow.
All day long.
Yeah. High yellow stuff. You know.
High yellow stuff. Even some of the melanistic stuff that Mark Hager's working with. Fire.
I love it.
Beautiful animals.
Fire. Shout out to Mark Hager.
And I think that's a fair argument that given generation after generation of selective breeding with those, they'll also do some really, really crazy stuff too.
Yeah, Mark can't wait.
But they probably won't be able to make black and blue chondros with them ever. So sorry, but that's just not the direction that I went.
Right. Oh man, this is a good episode, man. I appreciate it. You know, I just thought of something. I've never given you hot seat questions. You never gotten hot seat questions.
Yeah, you gave me hot seat questions. You asked me about football and another.
Take it back. Take it back. I'm sorry, we did.
You asked me about ball pythons before.
I forgot. You're right, because we had an episode prior of you coming on, Bill. Okay, never mind. Made that. All right. I'm glad we figured that out. All right, listen, dude. I really appreciate your time. For people to kind of wonder where they should follow you, are you mostly active on IG, Facebook? Where can people really come tune into your stuff?
So I probably post the most in the Facebook group that I run, Green Tree Pythons, Marilia viridis, the biggest green tree python group on Facebook.
Nice.
And I try to stay active a little bit on my Instagram page too, but I'll be honest, I'm not as good with that platform. I haven't spent enough time there to get it as well as I do Facebook. So I'll post there, and you could always message me through there. But if you want to see the most from me, it'd be in my Facebook group.
Well, I'm going to put the links to both of those accounts in the description below. So for people out there, go check them out. And looking forward to having you back on the show sometime. But keep killing it, Steven. Like I said, very inspiring, the work that you're displaying, and just, you know, you telling your story tonight on the show. Just like, you know, like I said, I've known you, but I'm dude, best way to come into this is just fucking just chill out and just kind of go as you know, learn as you go along. You know what I mean? But yeah, I guess it could be different for everyone. But everyone, do me a favor. It's a wrap for Steven Saltzman, Cosmic Chondros. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
Have a good weekend. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right, brother.
Peace. Good episode. Appreciate anyone who tapped in for this Elite Chondro Talk with Steven Saltzman. This was awesome. Definitely going to play this one back more than once. This is your first time tuning in, make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way out, please. Really means a lot. Reminder, I do drop my vlogs on my other YouTube channel, the Trap Reptile Vlogs. So if you want to see Justin Gabelka's $1 million+ private car collection, go check that out. It's going to be epic. And of course, to remind you, I also do vlogs on Morph Market. So if you haven't yet, go to Morph Market's YouTube channel. Make sure you go subscribe. I have an epic vlog dropping on those channels as well twice a week. So appreciate all the love and support. Don't forget, if you're looking for exclusive content, you want to get more out of what you see at each episode, or just tap in behind the scenes with me and some amazing other reptile keepers, then come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. You can do that by clicking the first link in the description below. Connect to the Discord, connect to the Instagram group chat, and of course, invite to Trap Fest. So many heavy hitters come to Trap Fest this year. Best believe it. And just to remind you, Trap Talk Reptile Network is 7 days a week. Only Reptile Network giving you everyday podcasts throughout the week, man. Appreciate all the support. Before I let you guys know, you're going to know the deal. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Diversity when it comes to a reptile diet, I feel like is so important. So this is why I'm proud to announce today's sponsor, Blake Exotic Feeders over in Florida.
What is up, everybody? Blake here, the owner of Blake's Exotic Feeders. We have all quail available at all times, produced here at my ranch from button day old, from Conturnic day old, all the way to extra large Conturnic quail. If you guys have any questions, DM on Instagram. Appreciate the support, you guys. Make sure you guys hit me up. We have all the quail, like I mentioned, and everything is shipped right here from my house.
If you want the #1 quail sent to your doorstep, and more importantly, fed to your reptile, no better company than to go to than Blake Exotic Feeders. #1 quality in quail, hands down. And I gotta tell you, my reptiles love it just as much. It'll give you a peace of mind to know that these quail are grown on his property and it's not bought third party. Head over to his website, Blake Exotic Animal Ranch, to place your order, or you could just hit him up directly on Instagram. Let him know that the Trap sent you and he'll take extra good care of you. Thank you so much, Blake, for supporting the Trap, and also thank you so much for sending me top quality homegrown quail for my animals. For the #1 PVC enclosures in the reptile game, no better place to visit than Focus Cube Habitats. Excited for today's sponsor, Focus Cube Habitats, #1 enclosures in the reptile game by far. Everything you see behind me are 3x2x2 PVC design enclosures by Steven and Ashley over at Focus Cube Habitats. They're based out of Texas. If you head over to their website, you can select from over 30+ different enclosure designs that they've done. Two of the hardest working people in the reptile hobby today, and I'm so excited to add more Focus Cube enclosures. So much again, Steven and Ashley, I appreciate the 5+ years of partnerships that we've had together. Looking forward to growing more. Head over to FocusCubeHabitats.com, head over to their YouTube channel, subscribe, and check them out on Instagram. Thank you so much, Focus Cube Habitats. Set your reminder for the 2nd annual Reptile Breeder Show happening in downtown Los Angeles, March 1st, thrown by KG&D over at the Bomb Project. I happened to made it to the first show, and it was one of the best times ever had at such a really cool, unique show. Make sure you set your reminders, and if you're in the SoCal area, I highly recommend you pull up to this show and see the kind of vendors that they have vending. Some of the top quality ball python productions and other really cool species of reptiles will be at this show. So again, the Reptile Breeder Show, the 2nd annual Reptile Breeder Show happening in downtown Los Angeles, March 1st. Please set your reminder. Go to the reptilebreedershow.com, get your tickets, get all further information, and you can also give them a follow on Instagram. And I'll definitely see you at the 2nd annual Reptile Breeder Show happening March 1st. Cheers!